So, welcome to the Golden Dome, finally. This isn't out Sunday and it's out Monday. My fault. It didn't get through in enough time to upload Sunday night, so it should be up hopefully Monday morning, if not Sunday. But my bad. Anyways, we got a bit to talk about. I'm going to go first to Romeo Okwaras re-signing. And then I'm going to go to the NCAA March Madness Championship, which Notre Dame missed. And also my bracket. And then it's not much to talk about, so. But we'll go from here and we'll see what goes on or what happens. Romeo Okwaras, big brother of Julian Okwaras, who just left last year, got a nice deal with the Lions again. He got a 3-year with a 4th year packed in with guaranteed money or signing bonus added in as a dead year or as a dummy year, and he becomes a UFA in 2024. There's a potential in 2023 before the 3rd season of the contract. He gets paid a base salary of $1 million this year, and then $11 million the next 2. He gets a $3.5 million signing bonus for the next 4 years. The 3 years on the dummy year. He has a $4.5 million cap hit this season, $14.5 next season, $14.5 the season after, and a $3.5 the season after as the dummy year. After the contract, he is a UFA, $20 million guaranteed at signing, additional $5 million of 2022 salary, fully guaranteed on 3rd league day of 2022. There's an injury guaranteed. 2024 automatically voids 5 days after the 2023 Super Bowl. $3.5 million cap. And $901,000 from his dead contract is a hit right now, apparently. But it's interesting with how good he was. He came out as a UDFA, went to the Giants, went to the Lions, performed with the Lions, and now he gets a second deal worth $37 million with the Lions with a $14 million signing bonus. So it's interesting. I'm glad he could find a place to play at a very good level. I'm glad he stayed in the league so long, coming out from UDFA to good contract. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here. Anyway, on to the NCAA, and right now is near the end of day 2. There has been many things that have gone wrong for not only me, but lots of other people, but especially my bracket. My bracket has been wrecked, and wrecked, and wrecked, and wrecked. And there is no end. There is no end to this chaos that is my bracket. It sucks how bad this year has been. It is worse than normal years. There's tied second the most double numbered seeds going into the round of 32, I think was the stat. Tied second most. I was like, really? Really doing this? Really? Do we want to really ruin my bracket like that? So on my bracket, on the West, I had Gonzaga beating Norfolk, or the winner of the play-in, which happened to be Norfolk. Oklahoma beating Missouri. I had UCSB losing to the 5 seed. I had Virginia beating Ohio. USC beating Drake. Kansas beating EWU. Oregon beating VCU. And Iowa beating GCU. UVA lost by 4 to Oregon. That is probably the most perfect bracket quarter I have. Actually, it is. I have and then I have Gonzaga beating Oklahoma. I had Virginia beating the 5 seed in the West. Kansas beating USC, and Oregon losing to Iowa. Oregon won in a no contest, so I'm very happy there, because the other team got hit by COVID. And then I had Gonzaga beating Iowa in the Final Four to move on to the championship, or in the Elite Eight to move on to play Michigan in the Final Four, and I had them winning and going to the championship game. We'll get to that in a sec. Ohio pulled off the upset and beat Virginia by 4. Moved in to play the number 5 seed, who I still can never pronounce right. And now, that ruined the almost perfect part of my bracket. Now, let me just note, there's no perfect brackets, at least on the NCAA app. I rank 821K. I have Michigan beating Texas Southern, LSU beating Bonaventure, which both happened, and then Michigan beating LSU. Colorado beating Georgetown, FSU beating UNCG, and then Colorado beating FSU. And then Michigan beating Colorado. I had BYU beating UCLA, which UCLA won by 11. I had Texas beating ACU, and ACU won by 1. I had I had Maryland beating UConn. No, I had UConn beating Maryland, and Maryland beat UConn by 9. And I had Bama beating Iona, and Bama beat Iona. I had BYU beating Texas. BYU's not even in it. And UCLA and ACU are in it. So whoever wins is going to take over that BYU spot, and I'll be wrong, and they're going to play Bama. Then I had UConn losing to Bama, Bama beating BYU, Michigan beating Bama, moving in to play Gonzaga and losing. Yeah. Can't wait to see how wrong I get proven in the rest of these two. And then in the Midwest, I had Illinois beating Drexel, which I was right. Georgia Tech beating Lychee, which didn't work. Didn't happen. They lost. Georgia Tech lost by 11. Tennessee beating Oregon State. They lost by 14. OK State beating Liberty, which happened, but only by 9 points. I had SDSU beating Syracuse, which I shouldn't have bet against my home team or the hometown team. I'm never gonna make that mistake again, especially with how the Syracuse team's built. West Virginia beating Moorhead, which they did by a decent margin. Rutgers beating Clemson, which they barely did by 4, and Houston beating Cleveland State. And then I had Rutgers losing to Houston, which they did by 3, thankfully. And then I had West Virginia losing to SDSU, moving on to play Houston. I had OK State losing to Tennessee, who didn't make it. And then I had Illinois beating Illinois beating Georgia Tech. Illinois lost to Lychee 71-58. We'll see what happens in the OK State game tomorrow. And then I had Illinois beating Tennessee, Houston beating SDSU, and then Houston beating Illinois to move on to the Final Four. And in the South, I had Baylor beating Hart, UNC beating Wisconsin, Nova beating Winthrop, Purdue beating UNT. I shouldn't have bet against UNT. I thought about it, because I play with them in an NCAA 14 Dynasty Builder, and I'm so far into it that I think UNT is a powerhouse for everything. For some reason. Texas Tech beating UT State. Colgate beating Arkansas. Florida beating Virginia Tech. And OSU beating ORU. And then I had Florida losing to OSU, who is now ORU, and Florida's up by 1 near the end of the game. And then I had Colgate beating Texas Tech, which is actually Arkansas now, moving up to the Sweet 16. And then I had Colgate going on to face Baylor. I had Colgate as my sleeper pick. If they had actually figured out how not to have an ability to shoot in the second half, I think they could have gone to the at least second round. Yeah, they did horrible. They stopped being able to shoot. I was like, the one sleeper pick I have doesn't happen. And then I had Nova beating Purdue. Nova is currently beating North Texas, thankfully. And I had Baylor beating Wisconsin. Baylor beating UNC. Baylor beat Wisconsin. And then I have Baylor beating Nova, going on to play Colgate, beating Colgate, playing Houston in the Final Four. In the Final Four, I had Gonzaga beating Michigan, Baylor beating Houston, and Gonzaga beating Baylor for the national championship. Not national championship, for the win in the final championship. My bracket should have been better. In a normal year, yeah, it would have been better. This year, no. My bracket fell apart. I got 25 points and 28 upset points. This is not a normal year. There's so many 2-numbered seeds going in. I'm like, into the round of 32, I go, the one year I chose to take brackets seriously. It's my first year actually taking a bracket seriously. And it fell apart. I was like, Colgate, what happened? What happened? I was like, Colgate, the one time I'm happy to see a sleeper pick of mine. They got destroyed by almost 20 by Arkansas. I can't click on it, but I quit. I'm done. I might take a year off next year just to shallow in the anger and salt of myself. It sucks, but it is what it is. We can only look to next year and hope for a better next year like we do with all our sports teams. It'll be interesting to see what happens for the tournament, for the rest of the tournament. And if any of you watching have an NCAA bracket going right now, good luck. I hope you have very good luck with your bracket. And hopefully you do very well. And I just looked now, Oral Roberts is up 2 on Florida with 1:16 left. Yay. And the Villanova game's at halftime. All the other games are over. Figures. Anyway, this was a very short episode. Actually, no, I got a little bit more to talk about. I don't know why I went to cut it there, but looking at, I want to pull up Notre Dame recruiting now. Because there was some recruiting action Wednesday. So, what exactly happened? Because now I'm interested. Speaking of Notre Dame, next month is the Blue and Gold game. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that, if they play it, if they allow fans, and how much fans they allow, if they do allow fans. I'm hoping they do, because I want to see an advance there, so I can potentially. We were planning on going last year, and then COVID shut everything down. I was like, can I at least just please go to one game? Right now, there is Blake Fisher, Rico Spindler, Tyler Buckner, Lorenzo Styles Jr., Gabriel Rubio, Kane Barong, Philip Riley, Caleb Johnson, Mitchell Evans, Ryan Barnes, Justin Walters, Devin Opiu, Will Schweitzer, and Ron Powers Jr. have enrolled. 13 more have signed the letter of intent. Dion Coltsey, Prince Kelly, Austin Estime, Jaden Thomas, Kahari Gee, Joe Alt, Logan Diggs, Chance Tucker, Kahanu Kia, Pat Coogan, Jason Oney, JoJo Johnson, and Josh Bryant. And there's still only one transfer in, and Jack Cohen, who is signed. None of them have enrolled yet. It'll be interesting. Notre Dame has the 9th national ranking recruiting class. The class ranked the previous year was 18, but last year their class was a 0.9074. This year it's a 0.8969. Looking at the 2022 class, they've shot a lot of offers out of the 2022 and 2023 class. They've got Joshua Burnham, outside linebacker, a 4-star. Tyson Ford, a 4-star defensive end. Joey Tanona, a 4-star offensive tackle. Ty Chen, a 4-star offensive tackle. Jadarian Price, a 4-star running back. Jaden Mickey, a 4-star corner. Nolan Ziegler, 4-star safety. Steve Angeli, a 3-star, and I don't know his position. Jack Nickel, 3-star tight end. Aiden Gobira, 3-star defensive end. And Amorian Walker, a 3-star wide receiver, all as hard commits. Although that could change at the drop of a hat. You never know. That is only their commits. They have offered in that class. Let's see. So guys that are still haven't hard committed that they've offered that are still out there are 4-star dual threat quarterback Gavin Wimsott, 5-star running back Gavin Sawchuk, actually there's a lot of people they're targeting in this class right now that they've sent offers to. Actually, let's look at visits. I'm interested in how many visits they got coming in from this class. The only visit they've got is Dallin Hayden, a 4-star running back, on June 11th, 2021. That is it. They've got no other visits, which is interesting. Looking at the 2023 class, it's still very far off to talk about this class, but I'm going to anyways, just to look at the... There's no commits. They've made a lot of offers. And you've seen a lot of that this week with offers to 2022 and 2023 prospects, including Arch Manning. And where is he? If I can find him. Mateo Uiagalelei, DJ Uiagalelei's younger brother, who plays weak side defensive end. So it'll be interesting to see how this class, how the 2022 class and 2023 class develops, what goes on, and what potentially happens in the future. And looking at Notre Dame right now, with these guys going into the draft, the pro day is soon. Now, with the graduating guys in Hayes' book, Owusu Koromoa, I'm going to be interested a lot in that pro day. I'm going to be watching it live. I'm going to take notes during if I can, if I have time. And I think once it happens, I'm going to have a lot to talk about the next podcast. There's not much to do during the off season of college football. There's not, unless there's big headlines going on. And as of right now, there's nothing on EA college football besides it may come out in 2023, is what we're hearing. Other than that, that's like the latest headline we have. There's nothing. So there's no big headlines. Thankfully, no negative headlines too for Notre Dame. Nothing really huge going on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. And this was a very short episode, but still an episode. I'm glad I could get this out. And this is the Golden Dome signing off.